what happens in our hearts when we gossip or talk bad about someone, even if it's in educational purposes with a trustworthy friend or something. So I've been playing with these guys for back and forward for a pair of years now, with a lot of breaks in between, but what is significant to this community is that I really don't actually vibe that much with them. It's not that I don't like rough humor and banter and jargon and teasing and rough jokes. But to me it is that it's just something that is off, and I have tried, but I just can't connect with them. We're not on the same page. But some months ago we got some new members, which I vibed with. And then a few weeks ago they left because they really didn't feel that they enjoyed the group dynamic with as they've framed it or stated it as being bullying and that stuff. So that was a bit sad that they left, and that I didn't leave, but I'm kind of loyal to. I have a couple of friends. We have played here for a long time, so it kind of take more for me to leave. But so as a result of that, me and a friend who's still there, we were talking about this event, and we were talking about just like in educational purposes, trying to learn what we like and don't like, and maybe learn about ourselves even. Because yes, sometimes it can be useful to, I guess many times it can be useful to ventilate how you feel about someone and what they make you feel, and allowance to judge them and that stuff. I can see the point, and I've used that a lot, but what I'm going to talk about today is a thing that I'm suspecting that might happen when doing that, even innocently. So it has to do with a possible energy block. Because when I was talking with my friend, and I said I spat my worst poison, which wasn't that rough, but it was that when many people laugh, they spread happiness, and I said that when these people laugh, they don't. So that was the harshest thing that I could say, I guess, or I did say, rather. And my friend said something like, yeah, I don't even know if I at some point gonna wanna have this guy in this guild, in this group. Or at some point I might not gonna wanna have him in the group. So that was his harshest. I mean, it's kind of innocent, but the thing I noticed then, the next get together with the group, was that when these two guys, they kept on being themselves, and they're taking over, I guess, in the social, because we are 25 people doing something. And I know about these types of group dynamics from playing ice hockey. There's always gonna be some people that has some more dominance when it comes to using their voices in like having fun and playing with power. You know, they gonna. It's always gonna be some people. I mean, if we were gonna wrestle 25 people, there will be some people who will be on top, and it's the same thing. When you put 25 guys in a group, it's gonna be it's gonna form higher hierarchies, and that's not a bad thing. But it can be rather unpleasant also, and it can be handled better or worse, because I've heard before, the positive way of challenging people is to challenging them up to your level instead of pushing them down from your level. And it doesn't have to be like challenging in a. I mean, you can sense it if it's also if it's a challenge in a way that wants them to be below you, or if it's actually that you want them to get up in power. But anyways, we were having this get together and things were as usual, but then I was getting a special job there, and I was asking for help, and one of them were volunteering, and I wasn't noticing that so much, because we are helping each other here. We are trying to save the world in this computer game. But then when I concluded that I actually didn't need help, and I said to everyone that, okay, I don't need help, or I wrote it, because, you know, the air is so filled sometimes with everyone's banter, or those who has that power in that setting. So sometimes it's easier to write and I guess in that situation I wrote also because I didn't want to distract from the leaders, the actual leaders, who were discussing tactics that were more troublesome for the group to execute on. So I just put a notice on what I found, that I don't need help there. So one of these guys that me and my friend earlier that I said had spoken about, that were the reason of the guys that we were vibing with, left the group, like I said also. He then took tone like he usually do, always, and he said, okay, so Anderson doesn't need help. Does that mean that I can continue DPSing? And I said, I took the tone then and said, yes, I will handle this. You can trust me. And he said, love you, Anderson. And that is when I noticed in that moment, and also what followed, because he's okay. First he said that. Second, I got a little shocked because I felt, even though that he is throwing that sentence around sometimes, it is still love. It was still love because I could feel it. Something there. And thirdly, the other guy who is the other reason, probably for the, most definitely for the team, those who left the team doing so. He commented on, because he and I were kind of having a little bit more of a tight cooperation in previous patches, and so he were referring to that, and like, and he finally said, "Hands off my shadow priest," in in his accent. But and then a third guy, which is kind of with them in the fun banter and not so fun for some people, but he said, "Hands off my dick." But so it kind of went out pretty quickly there, into like it always does. And I was just stunned and laughed, I guess. And I easily laughed. I mean, I could release my laughter easier with a third stupid comment there, but because everyone was laughing at that. And but yeah, this is the key to my insight that I'm talking about here, because what I noticed was that I had a block there, right there, because otherwise I'm very keen on being aware, alert, present with, and pick up on when people try to raise their frequency, or in other words, try to be kind, because everyone has sides that they that they more or less hide, or don't dare, or don't get feedback on showing. And I'm usually the guy who really loves that, and I pick up on when people spread it, and I sort of remember that and want to be friends with them more, or try to give feedback on that, because there is a point of seeing there's a point of both seeing the goodness in everyone, as at the same time that it's equally important to put boundaries down also, if it's getting too far in the dark. Yeah. But so far, for my standards, I haven't noticed any real bullying to me, and I'm not the most sensitive when it comes to that, so it can be tricky there. I'm not like, sometimes you need to hear other people's experiences, but it's often tied to just, not just, but it's tied to trauma, and just maybe higher standards of group dynamics also. That is something. But anyways, what went through my mind there was a bit shock, and I felt that, okay, I can't just now, why can't I help them, or like feedback this and start give it back to them like I usually do, like saying I love you back, you know. I was stunned, and I felt what also ran through my mind was that, and it was highly automatic, that that me and my friend had this conversation, and we had agreed upon that these people are this way, and therefore it would be bad of me to just sway from that. I would be less trustworthy if I just changed my opinion right away like that. So it made me think of this book I read back at 2012, no, maybe 2010, even 11. I don't remember, but it was the Four Agreements by Miguel Ruiz, was it that? I think. I will put links in description. But Miguel Ruiz, I'm pretty sure, with a C. But they are the Four Agreements, and the first one is the one I'm thinking about right here. It's be truthful in your speech. And it had some different aspects, and I tried to remember, it was such a long time ago I read it, but that you should not gossip, because it spreads the poison, and it is not even true, because what you say is always about you, about yourself. And personally, I think that is mostly true. I believe in this one, where these three fingers is pointing towards yourself. So when you speak about someone, a little bit is about someone actually, but also a little bit about everything, God or the universe or something, but mostly about yourself. So I guess I understood their deeper level of that, maybe, that, okay, I can see now why it is making, because, okay, so the book is called Four Agreements to a Better Life, and I can see there why that is making it a better life, because if I had not spoken about him there, or them, my life would have been better, because I would have been able to tap into love right there, be receptive of it, and even spread it. So that is kind of devastating result. A devastating result, because, yeah, like I told you, my purpose in life is to be as happy as I can and spread that, because it goes hand in hand. Like, I can't be happy and loving at the limit. I mean, I am happy and loving at the limit of my world that I live in. So I can't you can't be fully happy alone with your ego. So that's what I mean with just that it's, my purpose is both happiness for everyone and for me, and love, because love is the most happiness, or gives the most happiness. So yeah, boundaries are really important, but a boundary can't take over and make it a permanent blocking them, actually blocking these people, Because like if I look at it in this way, these people, these souls maybe were trying there to reach a little better height. They were actually making an effort, and I couldn't help them. I failed them in that moment. Truthfully, by being too firm in the judgment. And I get into my mind here that from the Judaism or the Kabbalism, actually, where they have the tree of life, and in order to grow to Christ consciousness, you need to rise in the tree and balance boundary setting, firmness, holy wrath with unconditional love, basically. So conditional and unconditional, for you to reach Christ consciousness in yourself and that stuff. So that is the path in many life scenarios that is narrow to walk, and why I noticed this and want to remember it by recording it and telling someone who might need to hear it also. So not even only for myself, but for others. It makes a lot of sense, this first agreement, to be truthful in your speech. And I looked up a little bit where different traditions has the same thing, the same insight. And Buddhism, they have right speech, which is samavaka, to take distance from lies, from splittering speech or dividing speech, hard speech or empty speech. It's a part of the Eightfold Path. And Judaism and not Kabbalism, they have lashon hara, which is sort of evil tongue. It's forbidden to speak in a bad way about someone, even if it's true. The ideal shamirat halashon is to watch your tongue. And then from the Toltec wisdom, Don Miguel Ruiz, the 4 agreements, which are, I can say them all, be truthful in your speech, take nothing personal, and take nothing for granted, and always do your best. And then Hinduism or yoga, satya, truth, as one of the etheric promises, yamas, balanced with ahimsa, no harm. Then Sufism, the 3 gates. Before your speech, ask, is it true, is it kind, is it necessary? And then Christianity, letter of Jacob 3, tongue is little, but rules whole life. Let no rotten speech come from your mouth. So yeah, gonna learn from this. And next time something happen like that, where I feel that some people might violate some boundaries, I will take them with take it directly with them. Or if I speak with my friend or someone about it, I will make sure that I don't judge in that way. for the sake of what I've talked about the ability of doing the spiritual work, and walk the path, open the heart, spread it, spread happiness. Okay, see ya, thank you.